Today, I'm going to show you how you can create stunning infographics just like this one about any topic you like using NotebookLM completely free. The application of this are massive. You can use in presentations, slide decks, in marketing, or as part of an educational product. Honestly, the possibilities here are endless. I'll walk you through the entire process step by step using a few real examples so you can follow along with me and try this for yourself. So without any further ado, let's jump straight into it. The first thing we need to do is head to notebooklm.google.com and click on Try NotebookLM. It's absolutely free, but you will need a Google account. Once we are logged in, we will click on Create New Notebook. Now, before I start uploading sources here, there's one really important thing to understand about NotebookLM. Unlike many AI tools, NotebookLM works only from the sources you give it. It doesn't randomly browse the internet or make things up on its own. That means the output, including the infographics, are grounded in your actual source material. As long as your sources are accurate, the results will be accurate too. This massively reduces AI hallucinations, which is when AI tools invent information because they don't have enough context. Now, there is this option here inside NotebookLM where we can use Gemini to do the research for us. When we use that, Gemini goes out and collects information from the web to help build the notebook. That's incredibly useful for discovery and learning, but it also means you should treat those results like any online research. It's always a good idea to quickly review the sources and make sure everything aligns with what you expect. For this example, I'm going to use a YouTube video that talks about something big that's happening right now, how fast AI adoption is growing worldwide. So I will copy the URL of the video, come back to NotebookLM, click on websites, paste the YouTube link in here, and then click insert. We will give it a couple seconds, and there we go. It has already pulled the information in and create a concise summary here in the middle. I will just rename the notebook real quick. At this point, I could ask a question about the video, or if I go to the right hand side here where the studio is, I can create audio overviews, reports, mind maps, flashcards, or even quizzes. But today, what we want to create here is an infographic. But before generating it, let's click on the pencil icon so we can fine tune a couple things. Here I can change the language. Orientation can be landscape, portrait, or square, depending on where I plan to use it. I can also choose the level of detail. I'm going to select standard for this example. And down here, we can describe the infographic that we want to create. So here can say something like, create an infographic that breaks down how fast AI adoption is growing worldwide, using clear sections and making visually appealing. Now we just click generate. We can actually see on the side our infographic being generated. Usually take a minute or so. Let's give it a moment. Here we go. Here's our infographic. And honestly, look how nice this is. Clear visuals, real data, and you can easily see which countries are growing fastest. And if you look closely at the text, it's actually very readable. There is no melting letters, no heavy blurring. Everything is clean and clear. That said, just like any other AI tool, it's not perfect. From time to time, you might notice small spelling mistakes or wording issues. Nothing major, and I will show you a few ways to clean that up later in this video. Before we move on, let me quickly show you what you can do with the infographic once it's generated. If you click on the three dots over here, you can rename the file, you can download it, you can share, view the custom prompt that was used to generate it, or delete it. If you click download, you will see that it exports as a PNG file. We will talk about what that means a bit later. And if you click share, you can copy a link and send it to teammates, co-workers, or anyone else you want to collaborate with. Now, let's switch to something a bit different, just to show you more of what NotebookLM can do. So this time, instead of using a YouTube video, I'm going to add a few URLs I researched earlier about how the human body produces energy. First, I will click on Create Notebook. I will choose website this time and paste those URLs in. Then we click Submit and let NotebookLM pull them in. Over here on the left-hand side is where all of our sources live. Once they are added, you can quickly check or uncheck which sources you want to include. You can add more sources if you want. Sometimes a source will show up in red. That usually means it's behind a paywall or it couldn't be accessed. If that happens, just click on the three dots on the left and choose to remove source or remove all failed sources. At any moment, you can add more sources by click on add sources on the top. And you can add PDF files, Word documents, whatever you think it would add value to your infographic. Once I'm happy with the sources, I'll go back to Infographic and click the pencil icon once again. This time, instead of detail, I will choose a concise version and switch the layout to portrait just so we can see the difference. For the prompt, I will say create a simple infographic that explains how the human body produces energy. Break it down into clear steps and easy to understand visuals. Now we click generate. Let's give it a moment, and here it is. Even without a science background, this makes the topic much easier to understand. All right, let's keep moving. For this last example, I want to quickly show you how we can use Gemini for research inside NotebookLM. I will do a deep research about Notion, which is the tool I use to organize my YouTube content. Just remember that when we use Gemini, it's pulling information from the web, which is incredibly useful for discovery. But just like any research, it's always a good idea to quickly review the sources and make sure everything lines up, especially if you're planning to use this professionally. I'll go over here, choose deep research and ask Gemini something like research Notion and explain what it does, who it's for, how it works, and why people use it instead of traditional productive tools. Once the research is complete, we can view all the sources here, select which ones we want to include, then we click insert. I will also copy and paste in the company's website URL as an additional source, just to ground everything in the official information. Here we have one failed source. Let's check why. Okay, it's behind a paywall, so I'll simply remove it. Once I'm happy with the sources, I'll simply click on Infographic to automatically start generating it. And here it is. The possibilities here really are endless. You can use these with articles, website, PDF documents, research papers, and even books, as long as you have a transcript, a PDF version, or a detailed note. It won't work if you give it a link to an audiobook, for example. And one last thing to be aware before we move on. NotebookLM is free to use, but there are limitations on the free tier. Google doesn't publish exact numbers, and those limits can change over time. But I am a big fan of NotebookLM and I use it all the time, so I know I can generate up to 3 infographics per day before hitting the cap. And then you will need to wait 24 hours for the limit to reset again. For higher usage, upgrading to a paid plan increases those limits. Now let's talk about editing, because this is a question I'm sure you have in your head right now. As I mentioned before, when you download these infographics, they are exported as a PNG files, which means they are images, not editable texts. Ideally, it would be great to download them as PDFs, but at the moment, that option doesn't exist. So I spent quite a bit of time researching free options online, but unfortunately, I couldn't find anything that reliably converts a PNG into a fully editable file. So I've put together a couple options. The first one is free, but it's more of a workaround and works best for small changes. The other option is paid, but super powerful. So let's start with the free option first. Here I am in Canva, the free version, and I will create a blank presentation. Now, let's upload one of the infographics we generated earlier and place it into the Canva. Now, let's pretend that all we want to do is to change this text right here, right? So what we need to do is come over here and search for square. That's the one we are looking for. We add it to the Canva and we need to change the color to the same color as the background. Basically, what we're trying to do here is hide the wrong text. Then we can add the right text right on top. So first, we make sure the square is selected. We click on the color circle at the top here. Then on the side, we click on the circle with the plus sign on it and select the color picker. Then back into the Canva and we just click on the background to grab the color. And that's the color we will use on our square. Then we just need to resize the square and cover the text. Here we go. Now we click on add heading and we type the text we want. I will adjust the size. If you are not sure what kind of font to use, you can simply ask Canva AI. We can say something like, what's the font type being used on this image? it actually gave us 3 options here. We test all of them, and once we are happy, we just need to position our new text here and slightly adjust the line spacing. And that's it. As I said, I only recommend this option for small fixes, like spelling mistakes or changing a word or two here and there. For these cases, it works just fine and it costs nothing. The second option is also using Canva, but the Pro version this time. These make editing much easier and can convert the image into editable elements. I personally use Canva Pro, so I'll show you exactly how I do it. So here's the infographic again. I'll click on it to select. Then click on edit at the top here. On the left hand side under Magic Studio, we are going to find the grab text. Here it is. Let's click on it. We've got 2 options. We can either use click to grab one text area only, or we can choose all text and grab all the text area at once. For this example, I'm just going to use the click, and I will choose this area right here and click on grab. We wait a little bit, and now this block is fully editable. For example, now I can change this number to 1.5 billion, and I can also delete this text and replace with fast AI adoption. As you can see, we can pretty much edit any text inside this block. Another really useful tool here is Magic Grab. So I'm going to use another infographic I generated earlier. I will select it, click Edit Image again, and go to Magic Studio. But this time I will choose Magic Grab. This option is great if you want to move or adjust images or icons inside your infographic. Here I can either use click to select an element, or I can use the brush tool and simply brush over the area I want to grab it. I will use the brush this time, select the icon, then click grab and let Canva do its magic. And as you can see, it works really well. Now I can move this cloud anywhere I want on the screen. Once you're happy with the change, you can simply click download and you are done. So there you have it, how to create professional infographics with NotebookLM completely free. NotebookLM is an incredible, powerful tool, and these infographics are just one feature. The fact that you can turn any content, videos, books, websites, meetings into visual summaries in seconds is absolutely a game changer. And if you want to learn how to create websites and deploy them for free using Gemini, make sure to watch this video right here next, where I show you the complete step-by-step process. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.